Welcome to the Sport of Politics with Joel Robideau on 103.7 The Game, online at 1037thegame.com. We discuss the local issues affecting you and the Acadiana area with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. From time to time, we'll have special guests and always make time to take your calls. Now, time for the Sport of Politics with Joel Robideau. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
I do promise to listen, and I promise to be very thoughtful in my decisions. That's how I've conducted my professional and personal life, and I'm going to continue to do that as mayor president.
That is new Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. Good morning, Acadiana. Dave Schultz along with Joel Robideau on the new show here on 103.7 The Game, Thursdays beginning at 9 right here, the Sport of Politics. Joel, Happy New Year. Congratulations. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Hey, can we get one thing clear here?
Okay, quickly.
Quickly, if you're going to badmouth the first family of football and Peyton Manning, I don't know if I can commit to fixing the sidewalks.
Right. All right, that may be the Northeast fan that I am. That's the first question. What do you think about the Saints keeping Sean Payton and Sean Payton maybe keeping the Saints?
Yeah, if in fact it's all true, I think it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that worked out well. All right. So let's get a little background here, not only for my sake, but for our listeners' sake. All right. Let's give a little bit of background from you. I know a lot of people know this because you ran, but fill everybody in.
Yeah, I graduated high school here, college.
Where'd you go to high school?
High school was when Fatima was a high school.
Okay.
It only goes through 8th grade now. But that was in 1980. Went to LSU to run track.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
And did that. Met my wife there. She was also on the team. And
what was your event?
The 400.
How fast you run it?
47.8, which for the SEC wasn't that competitive.
Okay.
But it was an enjoyable time, and like I said, I got to meet my wife, who was a middle distance runner. So it all worked out good.
Right.
Ended up coming back and graduating from UL. Then went back to LSU, got my master's degree over there in finance, and finally got to Lafayette because it was the oil bust when I got out of graduate school. Made it back here, in the late '80s, early '90s, and as a CPA, and started a family, raised a family, and enjoyed it. Was thrilled to be back, and so been here ever since.
How did you find yourself getting into politics?
I think it was just a midlife crisis. I had just turned 40. A friend of mine, Mike Michaud, had been serving, and he was the only one of our age group that was doing it. And when the seat came open, because Jerry Luc LeBlanc got picked by Governor Kathleen Blanco to be her chief administrative officer, that seat was open. And so I threw my name. There was 5 of us in that race, and I ended up winning and staying in the legislature for the 12 years that they allow, and that was kind of the start of it all.
So what did you find out about being in the legislature here in Louisiana that you didn't know before you got in there?
Pleasantly, that Louisiana is not nearly as partisan a place as almost every other state in the nation. When Kathleen was governor, she had probably 7 of the committee chairmen were Republicans. She had Republicans on the money committees. And those kinds of things just don't happen in other states.
No, they don't.
Whoever's in, if they have a majority of 1, then they dominate every committee. They control every money committee, and that's just the way it works in Washington and in most other states. It's not the way it is here.
And then how do you go from state rep to being? This is a new title for this position, mayor president. Are you the first mayor president?
Well, it title only, yeah.
Right,
I mean, it's the same position that the previous administration had.
Right.
They just the title mayor was not in it, even though technically you were both the mayor of the city of Lafayette and the president of the entire parish of Lafayette. It was just called city parish president.
Okay.
And Joey felt like it would be more clear to everybody if they knew you were the mayor president. And so they had put that on the ballot for this most recent November election.
See, where I'm from, that's 2 positions. The mayor of Syracuse is 1 position. Mm-hmm. The county executive is another position.
Yeah. And that's the case in almost every other.
Another reason to love Louisiana.
That's right.
Exactly. Not one election day, but 2 election days at least, and neither one of them are actually, on election day.
That's right.
Have your own on the weekends, which is actually a good idea. All right, you had your first council meeting on Tuesday night. How did that go? What was brought up and what was discussed?
Yeah, that was good. We purposely didn't have any, really big controversy. It was a lot of resolutions that needed to get passed. And that meeting kind of went off without a hitch. It was probably the quickest one we'll ever have. And so it was a good way to start.
All right, so let's talk about some of the team that is part of, Team Robideau. Talk about your team, the people you were bringing into the government.
Yeah. A guy by the name of Lowell Douillon is going to be the CAO. He's got a lot of managerial, HR, administrative experience in the oil field and other businesses. He's been the CEO a couple of different places, and he just brings a wealth of knowledge. But the thing that I like about Lowell the most is the work ethic. He's a roll-up-your-sleeves kind of guy. He's not looking to be on the camera. He's not looking to run for office. He just wants to get the job done, and he's going to be great. And I was obviously thrilled when he agreed to the position.
Okay, so a CAO, is that Chief Accounting Officer?
No, administrative.
Chief Administrative. So that is your Chief of Staff.
That's basically it. That's right.
Okay,
exactly.
So he's basically running the show.
That's right.
As it turns out, I mentioned, a West Wing fan, and so we want to discuss this because I need to figure out, obviously, what the different positions are. And now you have Lori Toops as the CFO.
Yeah, and Lori was there in the previous administration, and she's going to continue. She's not quite 30, I don't think, years of experience in handling the books and records of governmental entities. So she's well versed in everything from bond issues to the nuts and bolts of the accounting. So she's great, and it was important for me to keep her. So I'm glad she agreed to stay too. 'Cause it's hard to find folks that that have that expertise, because it's a very specific type of accounting.
Sure.
And so that was an easy decision for me to keep Lori.
And we're talking with Joel Robideau, Mayor President of Lafayette City Parish, on the sport of politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. The show will be replayed on TV, KDCG, 7 a.m. on Friday. How long is the term?
4 years.
4 years. Is that the same thing for the city council too? Is that it?
That's right.
That's
4 years.
Okay.
Yep.
All
And
right.
every legislator that got elected is 4 years. We all got elected at the same time, so all our terms run the same.
All right, so that makes things easy. You don't have to worry about that for another 4 years. All right, so where do you go from here? How quickly? Well, let's go to this way. All right, John Bell Edwards was sworn in yesterday, I believe. And so how does the state finances, which are in trouble, how does that affect us locally here?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the state situation is going to affect all the local governments. But in addition to that, the same reason the state's struggling, the locals struggle. I mean, it's the oil and gas and the downturn. I mean, that affects our revenue and sales tax collections the same way it's doing for the state. And so the state provides local government with, a lot of funding. And so, yeah, that's all in jeopardy. And so we're all going to have to really look at our budgets and tighten up where we can, and everybody's aware of it. And so I actually had dinner with John Bell last night. And so, I certainly don't envy his position right now. He's inheriting a mess.
Right. And he says the first thing he's going to do is expand Medicaid. I guess that takes a process and will be done by July. It'll be done here shortly, but it won't be instituted until July 1st.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, he can do all the things that have to be done, but, he won't see that revenue, until the back half of the budget that he's working on at best,
But that's a good thing.
It's good.
I would think,
I mean,
because it's money coming from the federal budget. I know that
it's
some people aren't.
It's our, and I certainly understand the argument on the other side, but at the end of the day, it's our tax dollars that we send to the federal government.
Right.
And if we're not taking our own back, then that means other states are getting our tax dollars. And so ultimately, you can stand on a couple of philosophical principles there, that it being an expansion of government, but right now it's needed. I mean, we need to get that money for the health care. With all the baby boomers, it's just going to get a bigger and bigger number.
And then he's going to come in with the real bad news. He's going to raise taxes.
he's going to try. You know,
right? Yeah, he's going to try. Is right.
It's a Republican-controlled Senate, and more importantly, a Republican-controlled House. And
but they seem to be.
I mean, you know, the revenues
up for compromise.
I'm hopeful that they'll be able to figure something out, and they're going to have special sessions and a regular session, and maybe even another special session after that to get some solutions. So, but it's going to be interesting. It's not going to be easy. I mean, it's never easy when you're taking money out of people's pockets.
Right.
You know, it's a tough vote to make.
Well, you had mentioned, you know, it's not as partisan as other states. Jay Darden is in the administration. He ran for governor, and the lieutenant governor is Republican, and both of them are saying we're in deep trouble.
Yeah, that's right. And so, and Jay Darden understands the budget as well as anybody in Baton Rouge, having served as a state senator for a long, long time. He's a great guy, smart. And so, yeah, I have full confidence, he and Kimberly Robinson, that they'll figure something out. It's just, you may have the best solution in the world. If you can't get the votes, then it's not going to happen.
All right, we'll do more sport of politics with the mayor president, Joel Robideau from Lafayette City Parish. We'll take your calls a little bit later on. We'll find out what he's looking to do here, short term and long term. Coming up next on Acadiana Sports Station 1037 The Game and 1037thegame.com and mobile app powered by McDonald's.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 1037 The Game and 1037thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, back with Sport of Politics with Joel Robideau. I'm Dave Schultz. I will say you got one of the better Twitter handles ever. I mean, were you one of the first ones? Obviously, you were the first Robideau to go get it because that's your Twitter handle, @Robideau.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think I was pretty early on. Nah, I don't tweet
you don't
that
tweet
much,
very much?
But I figured I'd just soon grab it while.
Are you going to do it now a little bit more?
I'll probably do, yeah.
Because that's a really good way to communicate,
Right.
which is something you said you would do. You'd listen.
That's right. And, I was fortunate to be paying attention early on.
There you go. Smarter than the rest of us. All right. So what is? Let's outline some of your short-term goals. Something that can be done. Flatten out the sidewalk so I don't trip. Towards more long-term goals here. What is something you're looking to accomplish here in 2016?
You know, there's a lot we'd like to accomplish.
Sure.
I understand that government moves slower than those of us from the private sector,
Right.
Prefer. But the University Avenue corridor, I've spoken about that, a few different times now. I really would like for that gateway to represent the community better than it does now. I think there's a lot of potential coming off of Interstate 10 for parents that are bringing their kids in for a visit, if they're coming in for whatever, when they take the university exit, that we could make that as an appealing and attractive an entrance to our city as we can. And so, that's going to take federal government, state government, local government. It's going to take us all. A big effort from us all, and I'm all ears because I don't have the solution on how to get it done, but I want to get it done.
Well, that was going to be the next question.
Yeah, so I'm reaching out to folks and everyone that I can to say, hey, look, help me come up with ideas that can make this happen, and I'm confident. We're an entrepreneurial city, so I think we'll come up with some solutions.
All right, so when you say University Corridor, what exactly do you mean?
Well, certainly the piece from Interstate 10 through Four Corners, and for those that have been in Lafayette, they know where Four Corners is, but when you go under the underpass of the railroad tracks and get to the intersection of University and Cameron, that's Four Corners. From Four Corners on, it's really, it starts to have the appeal that you'd want it to have. But from Interstate 10 to Four Corners, I think we can do a lot better job. We can actually put some sidewalks there that I think Kenneth Boudreau and some of the councilmen have already put in for that. We'll make them as smooth as possible so some of our unathletic residents will trip.
Yeah.
And
he's looking at me. He's looking right at me.
Well, I don't know.
We've done it many times.
But I think there's a lot we can do. And that's the corridor that I'm referring to when I talk about the University Avenue.
Okay, so you're looking for businesses to move in. What specifically? Restaurants?
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think if businesses locate there, and I don't mean just retail businesses. I mean businesses that employ 40 people, 50 people. So if you have the business and you have those employees there, then the restaurants are going to show
Sure.
up. The grocery store is going to show up. The dry cleaners are going to show up. All of those things that create, a corridor of economics will show up because there's folks that are there that are going to shop on their way in, on their way home, and so the more businesses you can get to locate with employees, then a lot of the stuff from that point on will take care of itself. And so whether we have to come up with some incentives like we do for the industrial folks, and provide some businesses with the incentives to locate there. It may be as simple as that. And then government can do the things like sidewalks and beautification that needs to happen. And then before you know it, you've got a corridor that when people are driving through,
Right.
They say, man, this is a neat looking town. That's their first impression. And so that's the goal.
Well, that is important because as
Yeah.
someone who did come from South Beach and the Keys, and I actually got off at 10 and 49, and it wasn't the best of all impressions. Then I got to where I was staying for a little bit in River Ranch area, and I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. This is a really nice community. So it is important to, you don't get a second chance to make
Right.
that first impression, especially what you're thinking about the parents bringing their kids to school here.
Right.
From everybody who wants to be a teacher, chemistry, biology, an accountant, to
Yep.
a football and basketball player or baseball and softball player, it can have an effect on you.
Yeah, media store.
Right. Well, when we find one, let me know.
Okay. But yeah, and that's the intent, and I think we all want it. I haven't had any pushback from any part of the community. I think everyone understands that whatever we can do to improve all of those gateway corridors off of Interstate 10 is just going to benefit everybody.
All right. So have there been any volunteers yet?
No volunteers
No
yet.
volunteers yet.
But we're
Okay.
only two days in, so 3 days in. So we're
Well, you
good.
got to come to the table. You got to do that. You got to do that under promise, over deliver
Gotcha.
type deal when you're a politician.
All right.
And then so people, when things do a little bit better than you say, you're the hero. Whereas if you, promise the world and come up just a little bit short, they
Gotcha. So
look at it the other way. Under promise, over deliver. I think that should be the mantra of the Robideau administration.
to under promise.
Under promise and over deliver.
Gotcha. I'd rather just the over deliver part.
Right,
But,
right. Well, that's a little,
focus on that, yeah.
a little game.
I got
a
you.
little,
Yeah,
a
well,
little,
okay.
little political game.
I got-
a little,
okay,
all right.
all right.
So that's the short term. Okay, so that's 2016. As you're working on that, what would be the longer term agenda?
Yeah, I mean the 4-year agenda, which includes the University Avenue, because that's not going to happen in a year.
Right.
Certainly not from start to finish. Is roads and drainage. I mean, we've got College Saloon that's long overdue. That we need to get that portion of College Saloon expanded from a 2-lane so it matches the other side of Ambassador Caffrey. Verrott School Road is one that's just a parking lot and has been for quite a while. With the addition of the new Costco development, both College Saloon and Verrott School Road are just going to get more crowded if that's even possible.
Well, I mean, to someone who, like you mentioned, government works this slower than the private sector. I mean, that town center, is that even going to take a year to get up? A whole year? I mean, they
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. It looks
No,
like
it's gonna be done
less
this year, right?
Yeah, March, I think. Some of the places are going to open this March. It went up fast, and so, but that's just going to add to the traffic,
Sure.
Frustrations that everybody has, and so we need to really fast track College Saloon and Verrott School Road as much as possible. And then, the drainage, we have the Ile de Con, which affects so much of the parish, Karen Crow, Scott, portions of Lafayette, and then unincorporated Lafayette Parish. And it's a big project, but it's something that's also overdue. So, those 3 things are really high on my list of priorities. If we can get those 3 things done in the 4 years, then I'll be very pleased.
Well, I don't know what we could do about it. I don't know what you can do about Ambassador Caffrey, because I will definitely schedule my trips to that road, whether it be Sam's or Best Buy, depending on the time of the day. I will avoid it.
Yeah.
Or know full well that I'm going to sit in traffic. Obviously, a lot of people did that, over the holiday season. You say, all right, as Coach Robichaux would say, it is what it is. And you just sit there and enjoy the radio or whatever the case may be. Try not to tweet and or text and drive at the same time.
Yeah. And then that's another issue that's out there. The Durrell administration had started the South City Parkway project, which will be another, crossing over the river that should alleviate some traffic off of Ambassador. I've proposed looking at Highway 733, which is West Broussard, because it's a state highway and it's already there. It's already got a bridge. Maybe just expanding that out and getting a lot more state help since it's a state highway. But either one of those would help with the Ambassador situation.
All right, we're going to talk to him, see what we got a national election going on, and mostly a GOP primary going on, and you do have one entity or some entities that a governor is comparing the senators and not favorably to being able to run things. Joel is going from state representative to running things, so we'll get his take on that. You are listening to Sport of Politics with new Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau on Acadiana Sports Station 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, we're back on the Sport of Politics with Mayor President, love the title, Joel Robideau from Lafayette City Parish. Okay, so we'll be taking your calls in the next segment. So if you do want to call on the ropesopendope.com hotline, you can do it on us. What is the number? I'm looking 706-0111. I say it 30 times a day. You'd think I'd know about it. 706-0111, 706-0111. We'll take your calls in the next segment if you do have questions for the new Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. All right, so you are going from, I was alluding to Chris Christie, governor of New Jersey. Again, I'm going to talk politics, not policy. He has been the governor and has run New Jersey. He is complaining or not being specific, or maybe he is. He's like, you know what? Marco Rubio, and Cruz are senators, big group of people who a lot of people would tell you do nothing, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, that it's the Senate. You're not really have the executive experience that Chris Christie has. You're coming from the representative side, and now you're going into the executive position. You have run your own business, so you do that as well. So what do you see? What are you looking forward to, and what did you learn as being a state rep that can help you as an executive?
Well, first I'd say that I think there was an individual named Kennedy that came from the Senate.
Yeah,
and
right.
he somehow managed.
Right.
So
among others, certainly.
Yes, among others.
Certainly.
I just picked the one that I think probably exemplifies the ability to do both. Background is background, personality is personality, leaders are leaders. You may be able to find some situations regardless that don't fit the mold, but a leader's going to be able to lead, and that's really what you need to do when you're elected.
Now, is there a difference? I heard you talking before we started about all the meetings that you had yesterday. Are these people lobbying the government already? Because I presume that's what happens a lot in Baton Rouge, is that you were hearing from the different groups who want their whatever views or positions, whatever it is, to come up. We spoke about this. It's gotten a lot of press now, but this past year, it looked like we were going to get the daily fantasy sports in Louisiana. I personally wanted it because it would have been some money for the radio station. Other states have now deemed that illegal gambling, but it was an odd combination of the casinos, the gaming industry, with the religious people who said, no, we don't want gambling, and the casinos say, we don't want that kind of gambling.
Right.
So it is interesting on how you do get lobbied as a state rep. Is that going to change now? A little bit more direct with those people, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, and that example you use is, we all use these cliches, but that is when politics makes strange bedfellows.
Very strange bedfellows,
because that was a very odd combination of lobbying effort. And so, it's a little bit different, at the for the executive branch than it is for the legislative branch, in that the lobbying is, you're not necessarily voting on all of these issues. But you're proposing a lot of the agenda as the executive, and so there's still lobbying that goes on. Most of the meetings right now, though, are as much internal as they are external, and it's just me meeting with staff and making sure that I understand all the different departments and the inner workings of public works versus police versus community development. And there's a learning curve for anybody that comes into office. And so a lot of the meetings right now are having to do with those kinds of things, not so much the lobbying, although it is more direct. It's, hey, we're an engineering firm. We've been doing work for the city for a long time. We'd like to, continue to do that, introduce ourselves to you, let you know how good work we do. Here's our resume. And so, yeah, I mean, that's just part of the part of the office also.
How would you like to move on the university corridor? That's how that works.
I got you. All right. I can see the advice.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we'll see how all of that goes.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much, I think, probably for the first couple of weeks, that's going to be a lot of the job. But I've got to pick an interim chief of police. Chief Kraft's retiring on January 31st. So I got to get somebody in so that they can work with Kraft for some period of time and be ready to hit the ground running on February 1st. And so there's some real stuff that's going on at the same time. And, it's just juggling everything and trying to get it all done.
Well, that's a good question. Our next question is, so how does this government work per se? Because it seems on the national level that it has to come from the legislature. And then the executive, in this case, the president of the United States, signs the deal. Whereas it seems like you're going to put forth the proposal. That's going to be voted on by the council?
Yeah, the way that the process works is any one of the council members can propose an agenda item,
right?
And the executive office can propose agenda items. And so when we go to council meetings, it's a combination of things that the councilmen want to see happen and things that I want to see happen. And that's where you have the open and public debate, and then they ultimately will vote on whether or not it's going to happen. And so unlike D.C. And actually, unlike Baton Rouge a little bit, the executive branch locally does get to submit ordinances and items that they want to have the council debate.
Well, in D.C., I guess it would be the majority. When the party of the president is in the majority, it's kind of coming from the White House, but it's set up by the legislature.
Yeah.
In this case, it's definitely not.
And it's the same way at the state level. What the governor wants, he just has to find legislators to introduce those pieces of legislation. But it's what the governor wants. So the governor always has their package. They just have to pick which legislators they want to carry that package.
Right. All right, we're talking with Joe Robideau on the sport of politics, the Lafayette City Parish Mayor President on Acadiana Sports Station, 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. We'll do this every Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m. We'll take your phone calls in the next segment, 706-0111, 706-0111. If you have any new questions for him, do you have any idea what your first proposal is going to be?
I do, but I'm not sure I'm ready to say it.
We tripped him up already. Yeah. Remember, under promise, over deliver.
That's right. And I'm still working on the details, so I'm not ready to release it yet. But
we'll be the first place you do that.
There you go.
All right, the reason to keep it tuned in.
That's right.
The sport of politics.
There
we go.
There you go.
I think I caught him off guard. He started blushing. He was debating in his head whether he should spill the beans or not.
And so I won't.
Okay, there you go. Well, then we'll ask a follow-up question to that. Mm-hmm. When can we expect that?
Yeah, again, the chief of police is kind of filling up most of my time right now and trying to get that resolved. And so once I have that resolved, I'll probably move on. So later this month, but in all likelihood, probably the February meeting is when we'll start having, some of the substance going before the council and getting debated.
All right. We will take your phone calls next. If you have anything you want to ask Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau as we roll on the sport of politics, a new show, 9 to 10 on Thursday. Sorry, Dan Patrick, we are cutting into your show. But it's only 1 hour out of the 10 that he gets. He can survive. Right. He'll survive.
It probably hurts his feelings, though.
But it doesn't hurt his pocketbook.
He's pretty sensitive.
Right. All right, we'll be back with more on Acadiana Sports Station, 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com and mobile app powered by McDonald's.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 1037 The Game and 1037thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, back on the Sport of Politics with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. We'll be glad to take your phone calls, 706-0111, 706-0111 on the ropesoapanddope.com hotline if you have any questions for the BMOC, I guess. You are the new big man in charge, I guess. I see.
Okay.
Big man in charge.
I thought I was going to be on campus.
Right. Well, it could be, yes, in downtown. That's right. I was going to ask you about the road leading up to the station, but we're in Karen Crow.
It's all part of Lafayette Parish.
Right. Oh, all right. There you go. Can we take care of that? How do we take care of that? We need that paved.
Are you the first caller? Is that?
I exactly am. Yes. Dave from Lafayette is calling. That is what we could just end it right at Delta Media, as far as I'm concerned. It's all about me.
It's all about you and the sidewalks.
Right.
Gotcha.
And the sidewalk. Yeah, but you're only going to do the university corridor. I need you to do on Congress.
Congress.
I run on Congress.
Gotcha.
And have fallen.
Oh, so you trip and fall in front of a lot of people.
I do. Yes, okay. I do. Yes. I'm trying not to trip and fall into traffic. I'm very good about tripping and falling not into traffic. That would be a different situation.
That would be.
That's
totally
going to be bad.
That would move up the priority list.
Yeah. Well, don't test me. We may just do that. All right. Again, if you want to call 706-0111, 706-0111. So, all right. So, how's the transition been between Joey Durrell and yourself? Because just because one guy's out, one guy's moving in, one guy's moving out. Obviously, it has to be a smooth transition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Joey and Dee were both great. Right. I mean, they helped and answered every question we had and got us whatever information we needed. So that made for a very smooth transition. And then he had a lot of talented folks, in his administration, and we were able to retain, I think over half of those folks we kept, and so that helps make the transition smooth also, because you have folks that have, gotten acclimated to the daily procedures and duties, and so it's been good. It's been as good as you could ask for.
Now, when we toured the new facilities there at UL, Mark Hudspeth's office, shockingly enough, was the last one that was finished. He was working out of everybody else's office. Now, is your office ready to go? Any final touches there? Obviously, this is where you are hosting everybody.
Right, and again, I have to fight my and natural CPA tendencies.
Right.
So there's still work to be done there.
What does that mean?
It's kind of like university corridor. We need to do some beautification and dress it up a little bit. Yeah.
Does the first lady of Lafayette City Parish have to take care of that?
She's going to help.
Not to stereotype anything, but I kind of just did.
Yeah. Well, but compared to the CPA that's in the office,
right.
Yeah. I'll have plenty of help. That I'm confident of.
All right. So, these have to be, when you're a state rep, really, is that a 3-month deal here in Louisiana? How long is that?
Yes.
4 or 5?
Yes.
How long is that?
Right. Session usually lasts between 8 to 12 weeks. Now, in this case, they'll have a special session. If there's a hurricane, there's special sessions. And then, for a lot of legislators, when you're not in session, it's still pretty full time. It's paid. There's no retirement benefits, no free health insurance. You don't get any of that. It's a part-time position in Louisiana.
It's not a very good gig.
It's not a very good gig.
No.
And
you got a better gig.
Well, just it's not a good gig except that you are shaping policy for the state of Louisiana, so it's an important gig. And so, I'm always thankful for anybody that's willing to run for that seat. And it's something that you need to have people willing to do, though. And it's not the pay, because that's 20-something thousand. So, plus your per diem, so you might get up to 30,000. And like I said, in the off, when you're not in session, it doesn't mean that you're off, because there's, constituents that need help with, Department of Health and Hospitals, Department of Transportation, Office of Motor Vehicles. There's always something. So it's not full-time, but it can be pretty full-time.
Right. Now this is going to be really full-time.
Yeah,
this is no 8-hour day for you.
No, that's right.
No. All right. Let's go out to the ropesoapanddope.com hotline while the mayor president, you don't want to put it over the top of your head?
I can.
You can put it. Yeah, that would be better. Probably better on the TV. All right. Let's go out to the ropesoapanddope.com hotline. We got a phone call.
Tim in Lafayette.
Tim in Lafayette. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for hanging on.
Hey, good morning, guys, and congratulations to Mr. Robideau on his victory.
Thank you, Tim.
I had a concern about something that's in my area. I live kind of out in the Judice area, right off of Ridge Road, and it's seeing Apple Field Span, actually. But I know that they had the previous administration redid Field Span, which is fantastic now. But the issue seems to be at the corner of Ridge and Field Span. I thought there was a proposal to do a roundabout at that intersection because it does seem to back up quite a bit, especially if you're coming from Lafayette to my area down Ridge. The traffic can back up, probably about half a mile or more in that area. And I think a roundabout, like I said, I thought one was proposed there, but I hadn't seen any work being done on that.
Is it currently a four-way stop, Tim, or is it a?
Yes, it's currently a four-way stop. Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I'll have to look into it because obviously I don't have all of that information at my fingertips right now. But the roundabouts have proven to really make a difference in moving traffic a lot better than the four-way stops. And so I'll certainly look into it. But if it was part of the previous administration, then that means it's probably still in the works and it's probably still on the priority list. I just have to see where it falls, and I appreciate you letting me know about it because a lot of times that's where the information comes from is the public. It's not necessarily just sitting on my desk right there for me to see. So I appreciate that.
All right, Tim. Thanks very much for the call. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
All right. We appreciate it. Anybody else? Nope. All right. So that's how that works. I mean, that seems to be something easy. You can go back, hear what Tim said, and see where it is and see if it can get done. I don't know how long a four-way stop into a roundabout would take, but just to get the process going would seem to obviously it's taking some time as well.
And again, there's always the hiccup of, the disruption of traffic patterns while you're doing it. It makes it actually a little worse, but long term, it's a good solution.
Yes.
Those roundabouts have worked really, really well in a lot of areas within the parish. So,
well, that's going to be a case. Obviously, the University Corridor and Calais Saloon, that's also going to be cliche. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
That's right.
Right. I mean, you can't do anything about it. It's going to take time. You're going to shut down one lane to work on that lane. You're going to shut down the other one. So it'll back up traffic even worse. But in the long term, we'll have a better solution.
That's right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Correct. All right. We'll be back. We got one more segment on the sport of politics with the new Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. We'll do this every Thursday on 103.7 The Game, and then it'll replay Fridays on KDCG TV. We're happy to have the new mayor president with us. Again, that is outside of commander-in-chief. I think it is the best title in politics, period. We'll be back after this on Acadiana Sports Station, 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com and mobile app, powered by McDonald's.
Now, back to Sport of Politics on 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. Here's your host, Dave Schultz.
All right, final segment on the Sport of Politics with Lafayette City Parish Mayor President Joel Robideau. We'll do this every Thursday for as long as he can stand me, and then I don't trip and fall on now your sidewalks. See, this is what happens when you become the mayor president. They're your sidewalks now.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so you do have one thing you are going to try and make. I don't know how long this is going to take, and obviously it seems to be a big part of your agenda that you want to change the animal shelter to a no-kill shelter. What's that about?
Yeah, I think we can.
Do you have
certainly,
pets? Do you have pets?
I do. I have two dogs.
Okay.
And I think Lafayette is an animal-friendly place.
Mm-hmm.
I think our animal shelter can certainly do a better job with the number of animals that we end up putting down. The concept of a no-kill shelter. You're never going to get to no kill, but what they're referring to is for those animals that are adoptable, that you get to the point where you don't kill any of those. I mean, if they have aggressive behavior, food aggressions, health issues, I mean, obviously the shelter has to do what it has to do. But you can minimize that as much as possible. And so going towards a no-kill shelter, there's organizations out there locally and nationally that work with shelters to, the public shelters to say, all right, if you do this, this, and this in the way of adoptions and now through social media, you can reach out to a lot more folks and ultimately get yourself to the point where you are a no-kill shelter. It may be a 4-year process. It may take that long to get there, but it's something that I heard a lot about during the campaign, that I feel strongly about, and it's something I think we can do relatively easily. It's just changing some policies.
So why would it take so long? I mean, I have no idea what the politics involved with that is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think you can just flip a switch and
Right.
say this is now how we're going to do it. It'll take, you got to look at the policies that are in place. How many days do you keep animals strays
Right.
until people claim them or don't claim them, and then get all of their shots? And so there's expenses associated with it. And so
I'm going to guess an expansion, because if you're going to do a no-kill shelter, they're going to house more animals. Or is that not the case?
Well, the animals are there. They will house more, but if there's a really strong adoption policy
Right.
that takes over, and then I think everyone will be pleasantly surprised at how many more animals we can get adopted quickly. Like I said, there's a lot of charitable organizations that do it here in town that would bend over backwards to help us with our shelter to become more like their shelters. And so the sad truth is ultimately our shelter is the one where we do have to put the animals down. And if we can minimize that, then I think then we'll be doing the public a service.
All right, we're going to stay on you, by the way, on
Yeah,
getting
well-
on the first legislative piece of legislation that you're going to propose outside of fixing the sidewalks on Congress.
Yeah, the sidewalks, and what was the other thing?
Right
the
out
road.
here,
Yeah,
the
your-
access road,
yeah,
right up
your road and the sidewalks
to
that
Delta
you
Media.
run on. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to go all the way from the Gloria Springs exit all the way to the next exit, that's fine too. Yeah, I'll accept that. More
right.
money is okay.
All right.
But those are the two things that should be at the top of your agenda. That's the David Schultz agenda.
Gotcha, David. All right. All right.
And Tim's roundabout.
And the advice from David Schultz is
Under promise,
over
deliver.
Gotcha.
Absolutely. Can't go wrong with that.
All right.
The problem is when you overpromise and underdeliver, then
Yeah.
tough to get reelected.
Yeah, oh yeah. But I don't make my decisions based on how to get reelected.
Right,
So-
right. Well, yeah. But you want it. But people are happier when they get
Oh, yeah,
more than
yeah.
they expect.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
Human nature.
Right. Did you buy Powerball tickets?
I did not, but from what I understand, I really probably should.
Yeah, $675 million.
Is that what it's up to?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I would say.
If I win, I'll donate to the sidewalk cause.
Okay, fair enough.
How about that?
All right.
All
And
right.
if I win, I'll probably pay for the sidewalks myself.
There you go. All right, you could do that as well. All right, we will do this every Thursday on 103.7 The Game, the sport of politics. Again, I enjoy talking politics. Not so much policy, may not be along the lines of what people are down here, but I enjoy the politics of it. And so I'd like, not only the different policies that you're bringing forward, but I love talking politics and how things get done and the arms that you have to twist to get things done.
Well, Monday at the Capitol will be a very
Right.
interesting day because that's when they'll pick their Speaker of the House, and
Right.
right now they're at odds with the governor over that, and so there's a battle brewing. We'll see if they can get it resolved before Monday. If not, then Monday will fit with the sport of politics.
Right. Well, there you go.
Oh, it'll be a battle.
Right. And then I think Senator Cassidy is in town today.
I'm leaving here to go meet with him.
There you go. So we got a town hall meeting today with him. I'm going to pop up and see what he's got to say moving forward. All right, we're really excited about the show.
Yep.
Thanks for coming over to Delta Media and 103.7 The Game. We'll see what the feedback is. I'm surprised we actually got one caller this morning, and hopefully we'll get some more as the show grows in popularity. What kind of direction would you like to see the show to take?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like for the public to realize that this is an opportunity for them to weigh in on whatever issues are going on around the parish, and like when Tim called to highlight some very specific situations that exist. This is a great opportunity to do that, and so I'd encourage the public to participate in the show.
All right, so we will do this Thursdays. I hear you're already missing a show. You're already Mardi Gras.
Well,
You got
you know, Mardi Gras is Mardi Gras.
Right. Right. Is that the week before Mardi Gras? Or the week
That's
after?
right. It's the week before.
Week before
That's
Mardi
right.
Gras. All right,
I
we'll
have
make
to
a-
go meet with senators and congressmen in D.C.
Right.
So
Okay. All right. So we will make that exception. All right. Maybe you
thank
call
you.
in. Maybe
Thank
you
you.
call in one.
call in or get
For a
you
segment.
a guest that will be better than me.
Well,
Which
yeah, no one's
should
better
be
than
easy.
you.
Should be easy to find.
No. Unless it's commander in chief. How are we going to do better than mayor president?
There's quite a few.
Right.
I'm
Well,
sure.
talk to the governor.
Better
talk
guess.
to the senator.
Well, you're right. There could be a lot of legislators that just went through the Monday deal that may want to come visit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We will do this every Thursday, 9 to 10 a.m. on Acadiana Sports Station, 103.7 The Game and 103.7thegame.com. You will hear the sport of politics Thursdays, 9 to 10 on the radio, and then it'll be replayed on Friday mornings on the television on KDCJ. All right. We want to thank Matt. We want to thank Dylan. We want to thank Alan for doing a bang-up job in the productions.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Congratulations, and we will see you next week.
Appreciate it. Look forward to it.